I can think of one project we did last year where we had a cost plus contract. We actually came in under budget, and we actually offered the credit back to the client, which is great. And if we had signed a fixed price contract, we would have made more money on it. But that's not the way we signed it. What's up, guys? It is coffee break number 14. We have a couple questions this week. This is a repeat, not a repeat question, but he wants me to elaborate a little bit more. Edward Duff reaches out and says, can you explain your pre-construction agreement in a little more detail? Is this an hourly fee or a fixed fee? If an hourly fee, do you give your client a maximum cost? And is the fee dependent on scope of work, complexities, unknowns, etc.? Great question, and let me elaborate a little bit more on the pre-construction, because in a previous episode, we talk about what that pre-construction process is. So let me kind of recap that. We take a fee, and depending on the size of the project, it can range from $10,000, $25,000, or greater than that. If it's a smaller project that we tend not to do as much anymore, that fee would be less. It's based on how many hours we think we're going to spend in developing the budget and working with the design team and the client to help outline the scope, the budget, and the schedule. So it's really hourly dependent. So we're looking at how many hours we think we're going to spend on that, and then setting a fee. So for instance, let's use the $10,000 for an example. Let's call that $100 per hour. We're figuring $100. 100 hours at $100 an hour puts you at $10,000. And we're thinking that, hey, that's going to give us enough time to put all this stuff together. If we think it's going to be more than that, we might bump that up. But now here's where the question wants me to dig into a little bit more. Well, what if you do estimate 100 hours and you're starting to trend more than that 100 hours? That's in the agreement, and it explains that we're going to track our time against this fee, this retainer, we call it. We're going to track our time, and as we're tracking it, we're going to be having these meetings with clients, and essentially we want to have a meeting where it's, hey, the design is so far along, the budget's so far along, the schedule's so far along, and ultimately we want to get to a point where they make a decision whether or not to build. And hopefully, and most of the time I would say it happens before that 100 hours is up. If we're trending towards that 100 hours, we're going to reach out and say, hey, listen, here's our time that we've put into it. Here's where we're at. We're thinking that we're probably going to start going over this 100 hours. We need to discuss, and in that agreement we explain that the hourly rate for this is X amount, and should we start going over the 100 hours, we're going to be billing at that, and we would just track our time and bill it accordingly. So that, I hope, really answers it and elaborates a little bit more on the pre-construction side. Edward goes on to ask another question. How do you decide if a project is time and material, cost plus, or fixed price? And which of these systems do you prefer and is the most profitable for you? So really quick, time and material, cost plus, fixed cost. Time and material is, hey, I charge X amount per hour and my material cost is this much, and we bill at that. Cost plus is, here are all my costs. This is all the costs I have in labor, all the costs of material. I'm billing you that plus a fee. So that is cost plus. Different than time and material. Time and material is a set time rate. And this is, I think, even myself included early on, I got tripped up on, where cost is, defined as your actual cost. So it should be the actual cost per man hour, where time and material might be an hourly rate. So for instance, if you're paying someone $25 an hour, your cost on them is probably somewhere, based on my math, $36 to $40 an hour, depending on what benefits they have and things like that. So you're going to be wanting to bill them out at $36 to $40 an hour, but maybe you want to make a little bit of money on them. So maybe you're billing them out at $50 an hour. That can be a time and material. There's where you're making some of that money. Where cost plus, realistically, it should be figured at $36 to $40 an hour, whatever their cost is, and then the obviously material, but then your fee is on top of that, and your fee can be whatever the structure is, a percentage, 10, 20, 30, whatever percentage that you deem is acceptable for your plus. And I can't really I don't want to get into that, because it's wildly dependent on so many things: your overhead, your goals with your company, what product that you're, the level of execution. People always ask, like, well, what's your fee? It's like, well, I can tell you what our fee is, but that, you have to understand what goes into that, the overhead, the amount of people that are in this company that are really focused on the execution. The rip it out mentality has to be, encompassed in that fee. So there's a lot of things on that side. The reason I'm explaining this before I answer the question is because it's important to note that, and important to understand what cost plus and how cost plus is different from time and material, and making sure that you're outlining that accordingly. Fixed cost is when you look at a project, you go through everything, you price it, you say the project is going to cost $100,000, and that's it. That you're signing a contract, you've outlined, here's the scope of the work, here's the price of the work. The problem with fixed cost is when things might get missed, which, it happens, or there's a delay in the project, or the client doesn't make a decision quick enough, or decisions weren't made prior to committing to a cost. That's the reality of what we're doing. And that fixed cost, unless you're issuing, unless you go into this change order madness of, okay, now you've decided that's more money, let's issue a change order. The fixed cost side of it is dangerous in a lot of ways, and I'm not saying it's better nor worse. It's dangerous in a lot of ways in the sense that you're taking the risk for decisions not being made and committing to a cost when you can't commit, you haven't even committed to a scope yet. So that's where cost plus comes in, and that's, I feel, is a more common, at least around here, is that the cost plus is you're essentially, it costs what it costs, and you're paying us the fee regardless of it. We take a different approach, and we kind of mold the two together. So we typically operate cost plus because most of our projects aren't completely defined yet. And for us to commit a cost to a project is very difficult unless we have every single detail and we have provisions in there for, things that might be out of our control, site work, or, maybe it's a remodel and what we find after demolition, things like that. But the way we mold them together is we are working in a cost plus manner. So we're tracking our costs on a daily basis and presenting them on a monthly basis, and time and material, so contractor costs, material costs, payroll costs, and then putting our fee on top of that. This is where it's different, and this is why we bring the pre-construction, and that's why I wanted to dive into that in the beginning. On pre-construction, we're basically taking the job, say it's preliminary design, we're going to start outlining that preliminary design and start working on line by line what things cost. And our goal there is to help unfold the design, help unfold the scope, and get as many of these questions answered so we're delivering a budget that is really, really accurate. So we're basically coming to a point where it's almost, it's very close to a fixed cost. The reality is, at this point, if we've done our work, we could sign a fixed cost contract and be in good shape because we've done all of this homework to really price everything. The cost plus protects us in the sense that, the things that are still unknown, or the things that are still, have not been decided on, that it's not just going to be, a conversation about, well, stuff has changed because we didn't assume correctly. It's, hey, it's cost plus, like this, we hadn't made these decisions. This is what it ended up costing. We're costing it. We've agreed to that, and we're moving forward. But doing all that homework and getting to a point where you can get really, really accurate with the cost is really the goal. And I can think of one project we did last year where we had a cost plus contract. We actually came in under budget, and we actually offered the credit back to the client, which is great. And if we had signed a fixed price contract, we would have made more money on it. But that, that's not the way we signed it. The other side of it, I'm thinking of a project that we have more recently, is that at the end of the job, we had some overruns. A couple of subcontractors came in a little bit higher. We probably squeezed them for a little bit more detail or asked them to slow down and do a little bit more work, and they charged us for it. We were 3% over on, a $750,000 project. Not a terrible swing. 3% is not that, it's a lot of money, but it's, I would say in my eyes, we're within reason there. That's a pretty small increase to make sure that our execution level is there, and we were covered for it because we were in a cost plus manner. But what it all comes down to at the very crux of it is that you have to have trust, and your client has to trust you, and there has to be honesty, and you have to be explaining that process, and you guys need to trust the process, trust the approach, and trust each other, because this is, there's a lot of money typically, in transactions in construction, and making sure that you're communicating those transactions clearly is going to help that conversation and help outline what is the right move for you. So, at the end of the day, what do I prefer? I think I do prefer the cost plus manner, the cost plus approach, because it does protect us, and we can, we have that security of if something overruns, we're still covered for it. But the other side of me, really would love to get to a point where it's fixed cost, because, at the end of the day, it's just less work in the sense that we've committed to a cost, we're going to bill on that schedule, and we're not compiling all this paperwork every month and presenting it and showing, hey, here's the cost and here's how we got there. We're going to do that anyway, but the presentation side of it just adds a level of complexity to the entire process. So there's definitely benefits to both. I don't think either is right nor wrong, but for us right now, being that we don't get all of the details in the very beginning and we're getting into construction at such an aggressive pace, cost plus is just makes the most sense for us. All right, another question from Seth Davina. I really want to know how you built the team you have now and how close you are with them. How personal do you get with them? Do you ask them about or know what motivates them? And do they share with you where they want to go longer term? There's a lot of questions there, and I'm going to kind of just ramble about this because we recently were going to record an episode of the Modern Craftsman podcast, had a guest cancel on us, and the three of us kind of just chatted. And looking back, I wish we saved the recording. We talked a little bit about people, very specifically, so we chose to delete it just because we used a lot of names and numbers and salaries and things like that. But what we talked about specifically was, let's talk about the financial side of it. What an employee, a team member, someone that works for you or me wants in their life. And, from a financial standpoint, and I say this truthfully and openly, is that when someone comes to me and wants to join our company, I ask that question. I try to get the money thing out of the way, because everyone always wants to make sure that they're coming into a position that they're offered something, a fair salary, or the opportunity to make what they that they hope to make, or maybe it's a lateral move where they're leaving a company. I've been in the position where people have come here and made more money than they were before, but I've also had the other side of it where people have left higher paying jobs to come here because they believed in it. But the conversation always went back to, if the position didn't allow for us to pay a certain amount, I wanted to make sure that we were outlining that path. And I used the wild example that, and I've said this to a couple of the guys, it's like, you want to make $1 million a year? No problem. Let's figure out how you get there. I'd love to do that. If I can figure out what I need to do to make that, I would do it as well. That's not the point. The point is there's value in what we produce in time. So, and having that conversation and being open about it, from a financial side, is really important to me, because I don't want someone to be in a position where they feel as though they're financially strapped, or they're never going to get to a point where they can continue to grow or make more money. I want the money to be as secondary as it possibly can be. So they're coming here genuinely because they love what they do, and they get to focus on that first, rather than having to worry about working overtime or doing a side job, or whether or not they're making enough money, or even in a position that they have the opportunity to make more money in the future. I try to have that open conversation, and that's the same thing with what they want from a personal level, or from the position that they are in. And this touches me, kind of closely, especially recently, that we've had a few people that have left and have had the conversation, and two people recently that ultimately they weren't happy in the sense that what they were hoping to achieve in their career wasn't what we were offering. And and I fully support that, like, to the moon and back. Like, everyone that I've ever had a conversation, similar to that, I've always said that I would fight for you. Like, I'd sit here and fight for you to stay if I truly believe that you wanted to be here. But if you do not want to be here, then I'm going to 100% support and make this transition out as easy as possible. And that's really hard, because especially talking one-on-one, it's like, it's sad for me. It's probably sad for them. It's usually not an easy decision, but I want to make that I want to make sure that that person knows that this is okay. If what we're offering here as a carpenter isn't what you're looking to achieve, hey, I get it. I respect that. What can I do to make this easier? Are you looking to apply at another job? I'm happy to be a reference for you. Are you looking to change career paths? I'm happy to help facilitate that. Are you looking to go start off on your own? Great. If you need work, maybe we can subcontract to you because you've been so loyal to us this entire time. It's really about that support, and that, there's a handful of things about like how close I am with everyone, and I try to be on a very even level and be personable, and I guess I don't look at this as I don't try to be an authority figure in that sense, and maybe sometimes it works against me, but I do genuinely look at this as a family. I look at us as working together for a common goal, and when people that don't want to be here are ready to leave, I need to support that and help make that transition as easy as possible for both of us, because it's going to hurt us financially. It's going to hurt us in the manpower side of things, but ultimately it's the right decision for them and the right decision for us, because what we need is people that are truly, truly here for the right reason. And to touch on that just a little bit more, that's why I find it so important to be open about this and talk about this and be positive about it, because you want your team to come to you and explain that, hey, listen, this just isn't working for me, or I really want to get into this type of carpentry, and it's just not what you guys do here. I appreciate what I've had here, but I'm gonna choose to go a different route. Making sure that conversation is open, and I'm allowing it to. I shouldn't say allowing it, but I take it in a positive manner, because for them for it to be such a difficult thing to talk about, if there's any sense of negativity to it, or if they're nervous or scared to talk about it, that's just inevitably delaying the inevitable. And I want to avoid that, because we can help plan for that. I want to help plan for everyone that doesn't intend to be here forever, that does intend to be here forever. And I want to be a support to everyone as individuals, whether they're on my team or someone else's team. That's what I'm here for. That's why I do this coffee break. That's why I do the Modern Craftsman podcast. This is why I connect with you guys at events when we were able to be at events. This is why we produce this content. This is why Doug is working for us full time, because we genuinely want to share and help shape everyone as individuals. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, that if you're here working for us, working for someone else, here now and want to leave, here somewhere else and want to come to us, like, I want to look at you as an individual and help support you in the best position possible. So Seth, I hope I answered your question. As always, guys, appreciate you guys asking these questions. If you have questions for an upcoming coffee break, make sure you drop them in the comments below. Try to do it in the most recent video, because I tend to go back to those first and then pull up a handful of screenshots. But I really appreciate it. I'm having a lot of fun doing this on a weekly basis. Until then, we'll see you next week.